Hi, this is a EDAY lesson today. We're going to do our first one. We're going to be doing a chapter on circles. It's going to be a mini chapter. We're going to spend only about 10 days doing this. I'm assuming that we might go as far as the end of Friday. I believe it's April 10th. Now, I think we're also scheduled, as of the day I made this video, we possibly are going to be back in school on April 8th. That's fine. I planned on, if you look here, we're going to review anyway, potentially day 8, day 9, and then take a quiz on day 10 anyway. So with that said, we should be fine either way. Most of the new material is going to be this first week, and we're going to go through it and have a good time. So here we are. Let's go ahead and get started. I don't want to make the video too long. This is my second time doing it, and the first time was way too long, so let's get going here. So notes for day 1. This is something you can download, and if you want to print it out, you can. Otherwise, you can just watch this video. If you need to watch it more than once, here's my last attempt here. If you need to watch it more than once, you obviously can and come back to it. You're going to know some of the words. Today's a vocabulary day. There are going to be 3 words that you do not know, possibly, quite possibly, and you need to be able to do that. So let's get to it. So a chord is the first word. A chord, you can see it over here in the circle. A chord looks sort of like a diameter, but it's not a diameter. Okay, diameter is something you know. A chord is just any segment whose endpoints are points on a circle. So anything that is a segment that touches the circle in 2 spots, that's called a chord. So chords are pretty easy to draw. Like if I just have you draw a circle and say, hey, draw some lines on the circle, you're probably going to draw a lot of chords, and you might even have them connect the dots and make like triangles and things like that. Those are all chords. Whereas a diameter is something, is a word you do know, but you might not have ever thought of it as a chord before. A diameter is a chord, see I'm using that word, a chord that passes through the center of a circle. So it's a special chord that goes through the center. So that's the most important one. And they don't say it in these notes. Let me just add it on here. It's the biggest chord possible. So if I asked you, if this was the cross-section of a pipe or something, and I said, how thick is that pipe? How big is this pipe? Is it a 1/2 inch pipe? Is it a 1 inch pipe? You would measure the diameter or the biggest chord possible. So it's the biggest chord size. Okay. Another word you already know is radius. A radius is a segment whose endpoints are the center of the circle and a point on the circle. Okay, and this radius is the most important segment that we got. So a radius, if we need to figure out the circumference, we use radius. If we want to figure out the area, we use radius. If I want to draw a circle just with a compass, and I say I need that circle to have a 10-inch diameter, well, that's great that I told you the diameter, but really to draw the circle, I'm going to use the radius of 5 inches to draw the circle. So I'm going to make the compass 5 inches wide, and I'm going to trace that out. So the radius is super, super important. Everything in this chapter sort of revolves around radius as it ends up. But there we go. So we have 1 new word so far. Here's the last 2. So we've got a secant and a tangent. Now let's just look at the pictures before I fill out the sentences here. So secant, it goes through the circle, but it keeps going. It doesn't stop. So think of like a laser beam or a trajectory of something flying past or over a circle of some kind. Or in this case, for the tangent, the line just skims the edge of the circle, just sort of nicks it in one spot. All right, so a secant and tangent are lines that touch the circle. They have chords in them for the secant, like you can see it. Let me color it. The chord's right there. It's actually inside. There's a diameter inside that second one. But the secant is the line that goes outside of the circle as well. So it's a line that intersects or crosses a circle in 2 points. Okay, so secant, I hate to say it, it's one of the most useless words for us, because the second half of this chapter that I'm not going to be doing with you would do some secant related topics. We're going to barely touch secants as far as a math topic this year. So really you just have to identify the word secant and you should be fine. Whereas a tangent is a very important word. It's a line. It could also be a segment or array. In the plane of a circle, it's got to be on the same flat surface of a circle, because you could sort of do weird tangents of a circle that intersects the circle in one place. Okay, just one place, one point. The point that I'm talking about is called the point of tangency. So it's very important that you understand how this works. So think about like a tire. As it touches the ground, technically it's supposed to only touch in one point. Any kind of gears and things like that, they all have tangents, and they all are pretty darn important to what we need to be able to do. So that's it for the words. So let's scrolling back here. We got chord, diameter, radius, secant, tangent. We need to be able to identify those today. In fact, I would argue that half of this chapter is just going to be identification and knowing these words. So getting started here. A radius could be any segment coming from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle. So it could be AT, or for the other circle, it could be WA. Those are segments that are radius segments. Okay? And then if we move on, a diameter would be something that goes all the way across, like TM and WD. A chord, picking new colors here. Chord is a segment that goes across, and some people might say, hey, is a diameter a chord? Yes, a diameter is a chord, but let's just pick a new one. This could be the chord, or DE could be the chord. So TP and DE are examples of chords. Trying to go quick here. Okay. Secant goes through the circle, touches in 2 spots. Goes through the circle, touches in 2 spots, and carries on its way. So those would be like DM with a line symbol above it, or WC with a line symbol above it. Tangent, let's go blue, touches in 1 spot. Tangents touch in 1 spot. So a tangent would be like PN, where P is the point of tangency, or GE, where E is the point of tangency. So that's the kind of stuff that you need to be able to do. You need to be able to look at a picture, see some lines or segments on a circle, and be able to say, hey, I know what that is. That's called a chord, or that's called a tangent. Here's another way I could ask you the same question. So here we go. True or false? OD is a radius. Yeah, that's a radius. That's true. CN, they don't say what it is. CN's a tangent. No, that's not. That's a secant. Okay. WL, that's a chord. No, that's a tangent. That's false. CD, ooh, this whole thing here, that's a diameter. Yeah, that is a diameter. True. OZ is a radius. Yeah, that's another radius. Nice. DL, oh, this one over here. DL is a chord. Yes, that does look like a chord, so that's true. L, well, let's just look at it. L is a point of tangency. Well, that would mean that WL is a tangent. Is WL a tangent? Yeah, it is a tangent. It's touching at L, so that's true. And LW, last one, is LW. Where are you, LW? Is that a secant? Well, no, we just No, that's a silly question. We just decided it was a tangent. So it's not a tangent and secant, they are not the same. You cannot, like, those don't overlap, okay? So this is also a false. So that's the kind of thing I'm going to be asking you to do. So please, if this did not make sense or you need to run through this again, you could go on like Quizlet Live, or you could do all kinds of different things. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some questions on quizzes today to practice these words. I would like you to be able to do these, know these words by heart. We're going to be doing a different topic for the next 3 or 4 days. And so we're going to sort of introduce all of the things you need to know for the circle chapter, and I'd like you to be able to do it all. So let's get this done. So good luck, and congratulations for finishing day 1 note.